now?
Yeah, it's on now.
Hi. Try Michi.
Who are you?
Michi.
You Michi?
Uh-huh.
Michi what? What's your whole name?
Demetrius Harmon.
Are you nervous?
A little bit.
I can see your hands are facing. I want to start off by asking, do you remember when I was born?
Yes.
Like the whole, I don't have any kids, so I don't know what that
Yeah, I remember.
process is like.
You was my firstborn.
Walk me through that. Like the feeling of, I guess the beginning, like the feeling of like, okay, I'm about to have a kid, to the preparation that comes with it. Like, when did it become real?
Actually, when you came out, when you were delivered, it became real. I was
so?
like, that's a little me right there.
Do you feel like I look, I don't know, when people like see babies, they like already like, hey, you got my nose. Like,
no, I didn't see that. You had, I think you had my color. I didn't see the nose and, those characteristics, but, you were definitely light-skinned baby.
I was pushing Caucasian.
Yeah, you were.
I had the little.
At one moment, I thought, I said, no, our baby not in there. I think all they got in there in that nursery is little white babies.
How did my name come about? I know, like, when we talk about it, you always say like you wanted me to have my own identity.
I wanted you to have your own identity. I did think about naming you a junior, but I just, like I said, as soon as I thought about that, I figured, no, let's give him his own identity. And I had a couple friends named Demetrius, and I knew a few Demetriuses, and I always liked that name.
You're the only person that calls me Demetrius.
Yeah.
You ignore the you. You completely ignore Demetrius. You don't call me Demetrius. You call me Demetrius. It's such a random. Every time you say it, I cringe.
Why?
I had a friend in school whose name was Demetrius, and like the only way I would be able to identify that they weren't talking to me is hearing them say it without the you.
Well, I don't know. It's probably just me because I don't even pronounce really the U in my name.
You call yourself Darius?
Darius.
That's ridiculous.
Like if somebody asks me what's my name, I say Darius. And then they ask me how to spell it, and then it goes to another level.
You have a silent U or problem addiction.
Yeah, I think so.
We used to like record a lot.
I don't want to talk to Boo. Ask what Angel. So put Angel on the phone. Hello. Tell Angel night night. Give her a kiss. Alright. Mom, go. Her go. You mad?
Please.
You mad? Who gone? Daddy right there.
That's part about videos.
Yeah, it used to really be. It used to be recording us doing that
all the time.
All the time.
Y'all be up and down the street. I got the video camera. I was that dad, man. Out there with the video camera watching y'all up and down the street. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Can I give you sugar? Can you give me a
Give us some sugar on the camera.
Give me some sugar on the camera.
What's your earliest favorite memory you have?
Earliest favorite memory. Well, kind of like you. I think you get this from me. You get it from your mom as well, but family. Family. I remember growing as a kid, we always had something going on, some kind of gathering.
Yeah.
Where all the aunties come, all the uncles come, and all the kids come. I mean, we'd have a big barbecue or something out at Belle Isle. This was back in the day when Belle Isle was, I mean, it's beautiful now, but it was beautiful.
It was a place to be.
Then. Yeah, man. And those are my fondest memories growing up.
What do you remember about your mom, how she was with you? The good or the bad? Just full depth.
I just remember my mom, man, just being a strong woman and doing whatever she needed to do to make sure she provided and put food on the table and groceries in the refrigerator.
What is providing? Like, what is that?
I mean,
your definition of providing.
Providing is putting shelter. I mean, it's a variety of things. Like putting a roof over your head, providing clothes on your back, shoes on your feet, stuff like that, and providing meals to be able to feed you and and take you to school and stuff like that.
Where did you went to Catholic school?
I did for a little while. I did. I sure did.
How do you feel?
And I don't have no regrets about it. I'm glad my mom put me in Catholic school.
Why do you say that?
Because the area we lived in was basically all black. So I grew up around all black folks. So when my mom put me in Catholic school, I got to meet other nationalities. I got to meet Arabs, I got to meet Mexicans, white, and we were all cool. So I think as I got older, in my older years, I thank my mom for that. You know what I mean? Because I'm able to mingle and mingle with all nationalities and hold a conversation with all nationalities. And most of the time, young guys, black guys coming from the inner city, if you're just around your people all the time, you don't even know how to interact with other nationalities. You know what I mean?
I think that's a big, like the similarity I see in that is, I had a choice of going to Dearborn High, but I didn't have a choice. Like not for real, because like
at one time you didn't.
Yeah, because it was like, all right,
it got to the point. It was like, man, you might as well go here.
Yeah, because the bus stop right there. But I think, same thing. I didn't. West Village was predominantly black, even though it was in Dearborn. It wasn't a Dearborn school; it was a charter school. So all the kids from Detroit was going to West Village, Cherry Hill, and then all of my like preschool and like elementary before that, Head Start, all that. It was like off Joy. So I don't really have to see commonalities because they're obvious.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Versus like, I think once I went to Dearborn, like that first year, I didn't really talk to people because I was shy. And I hadn't been to a new school since like second grade. Like Robichaud didn't count as a new school.
It really didn't?
No, because it was everybody from
your other school.
I could walk to my middle school from my high school. You know what I'm saying? So everybody from there. And then it's like when I meet people, they already friends with people that I met, so we friends now too. But
automatic.
Dearborn was a completely crazy thing, like where I just didn't know, like
almost you went there, you didn't know nobody.
I didn't know nobody. Only person
but then I told you, I said, well, once you go there, you're gonna learn people from the neighborhood too, because the kids in the neighborhood go there. So
it was a scary thing though, because I didn't have any friends in our neighborhood to start with. You know what I'm saying?
And I can imagine, I can understand that, because going to private school when I did, I was just as afraid as you were. I was 7th grade. I didn't know anybody in that school. Not a soul. Not a soul.
Yeah. How did you find your footing? You're a pretty social person.
I'm just a cool cat. I'm just a cool cat, man. I'm just a cool cat, man. I mean, if you run across anybody from that I went to Catholic schools with, man, white, black, Mexican, Arab, whoever, one thing they gonna say about Darius Harmon, man, that guy's so fucking cool, man.
What do you think is it, not to be self-centered, but what do you think makes you cool? Like if you reflect on yourself, what do you think like make you cool versus somebody else that not?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if that's part of the upbringing or what, but I don't know. I don't think I got a bone in my body, man. I don't hate nobody. You know what I'm saying? And I just treat people how I want to be treated.
I'm big on like the human connection.
But let me take that back. I do dislike one person, but that's just been in the last year or two. But other than that, I don't like. I get along with everybody. Yeah, I'm talking about my neighbor. Yeah, that motherfucker there.
The fact that you drew back the previous statement for the neighbor.
But other than that, man, I get along with everybody, man. I love everybody.
I think like how you're saying, like you can. It showed you how to interact with other people. It's like, oh, like our differences that we think will make us different aren't really that different.
True.
Like especially like people of color, we have so many like upbringing commonalities. You know what I'm saying? Like
because we all pretty much we grow up the same way.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Most definitely.
You know what I mean?
The hospitality,
like
all that.
It takes a village. The old saying, it takes a village.
That was the school slogan. That was our mantra at West Village. It was like, take a village to raise a child.
For sure.
How did you, do you feel like you had a village around you when you was a kid?
Yes.
Because y'all was so close?
Yes.
Where'd you
and
grow
especially
up?
in the Harmon Gardens.
What's the Harmon Gardens?
Harmon Garden Project.
What does that mean?
It's a housing project. It's like a little community within a community. Low income housing.
Did Reggie live in Herman Gardens?
Yes. Both Reggies.
Reg, Young and Reg. Big Reg?
Big Reg.
Yeah. His last name, is his last name Thomas? Yeah.
Reginald Thomas.
Reggie. I knew she was home.
When did you move to the Herman Gardens? Or was you always there?
Probably had to be about 5. So 1978 maybe, 78, 79.
Do you remember what made y'all move?
Yeah, I do. We were living in me and Moms was living in my grandmother's basement.
With the cats?
My grandmother with the cats. Yeah, Grandma Mildred. We was living in her basement, and well, I don't know if my mom had lost her job at the hospital at that time, but we were living downtown on Alexandrine, street called Alexandrine and Woodward. And my mom lost her job, and then from that point she couldn't afford the rent down there, so we had to move in with Grandma. And Grandma lived in a 2-bedroom house, so it was just her and Wayne, Uncle Wayne, and then the basement was to me and my mama. So I guess after being in the basement for so long, Mom's finally, was able to come up with money, and we moved out to the Herman Gardens. Against all the other families' discretion.
What you mean?
Like grandma, aunties, everybody didn't want my mom to move us. Well, didn't want her to move me to the Herman Gardens. They felt like I was gonna get caught up in all kind of crime and all kind of trouble moving out to the projects.
Did you?
No, never, never. I grew up with a lot of people that, got in trouble. But usually when trouble was coming, certain things like say, at one time kids was into stealing cars. They'll pull up in a stolen car, I'll get on my bike and I'll ride off. You know what I mean? I went the other way.
What do you feel like made you different? Because obviously they're friends. Like in what way?
Upbringing, my mom, and I didn't want to disappoint her or the rest of the family.
Like when do you feel like you disappointed her with things that weren't a disappointment? Like to things that you really were following, but to her it was like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Like what?
Not finishing high school. Yeah. I was like, She was like, nah, you run. She was really disappointed with that.
How long do you feel like that disappointment lasted?
Probably until my actual adulthood, mid-20s maybe.
So like, when did you drop out?
16.
So, sophomore?
Yeah.
I didn't know. I thought you dropped out senior year.
No, I got the sophomore, a little bit of junior. I probably got a little bit of junior. I don't know exactly where I left off credit wise, but sophomore, junior, something like that.
What do you think? Well, now what do you think?
16. I was 16. So what would that be? Sophomore, junior.
Yeah, sophomore, junior.
I was driving.
Yeah,
I was driving.
Junior. I started driving when I was
So that's really when it came all the way full-fledged in when I was driving. I didn't have to get up and go. You know what I mean? If I wanted to, I could. And if I wanted to, I'd just go out and jump in the car and go. If not, I'll stay home and wait till it was time to go to work and then go.
Why did you drop out?
Got boring, actually. Coming from Catholic school, coming from public school, I'm then going to private school. It's like I was in the 9th grade doing 12th grade stuff. So when I left 9th grade, I left Catholic school in 9th grade, came to public school in the 10th grade. Stuff they were teaching in the 10th grade was stuff that I had been learning. I had probably learned in like the 7th grade, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it really wasn't a challenge anymore. And then I got caught up with working and making money. And I was like, well, hey, I'm doing what the grown folks say you're supposed to do after school, get a job, make money and stuff. So
do you regret now dropping out?
That's my only regret in life.
Why is that?
My biggest regret, not finishing high school.
Why?
Just because. I mean, I've turned out successful without the high school diploma, but because I think it was such a big letdown with my mom and the other part of the family. I let them down pretty bad.
How do you think that
But I
translated?
redeemed myself by becoming the man that I am now.
Do you think that like drove you in a way of like, all right, I let them down, so I gotta like,
Absolutely.
like were they in the back of your head
Absolutely.
every decision you made
Absolutely.
as far as life after high school?
Yes, sir.
You used to really be on me about school.
I did.
Is that? Do you think those were connected?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
Like how? Like
I didn't want you to, like some parents, they like, say for instance, you if you're an athlete going through school, then you might have been an all-star football player in high school, but you never made it to college or to the pros. Then you got a son coming up. Now you want to live your life through your son. You know what I'm saying? You want him to probably follow in your footsteps and then take it to the next level. Yeah, I wanted you to follow in my footsteps. I wanted you to take it to the next level by getting your high school diploma. And you did.
that was hard. It was hard, man.
I know.
It was ridiculous.
I know. Especially towards the end.
No, yeah, senior year was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
What
That's why we would earn you. Like, hey man, do we need to get you a tutor? Do we need to get that? Do we need to get this?
that was crazy too because I felt stupid. Like
No.
it was like hard because like I don't know, I went from like 4.0s to like
You were.
I think I just got caught up in a sense of like the same thing of like I went from Robichaud to see I did the opposite. I went from Robichaud where their curriculum wasn't like up to par.
See what
and
I'm
then
saying?
I went to Dearborn and it was
It
further.
was up.
And I'm
And
like
you had to buckle down and
yeah, and I wasn't buckling. I was
yeah.
not buckling
and at
at
that
all.
time you were heavy into your videos and stuff then, right?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it started in 9th grade and like Robichaud
Yeah.
I could do it easily, but
Yeah.
then like 10th grade year and then too like
And that was my thing. I'm like, all this social media, I'm losing him to social media.
Do you still feel that way?
No.
Did you?
I'm proud of you.
Thank you,
I'm the most proud. You make me the most proudest.
man. That sentence is ingrammatically correct, but I'm letting it slide.
No, serious. I said it the way I said it because that's the way I meant it. You make me the most proudest.
When did Granddad pass away? Like what age were you?
He died in 84. I was 11. He died in February. I was 11. I turned 12 in April. So a few months later, I turned 12.
How do you feel like that affected you as a kid and continues to affect you?
Tremendously. You know, I didn't have that father to go talk to when things got rough. You know.
Mm.
Thank God for my uncles.
You talking about like Larry, you know?
Well, Uncle Larry was down south,
Wayne.
so Uncle Wayne, Uncle Jerry, Uncle Donald.
How was it as I can imagine that being hard too, because like you don't really start developing as a man until you like 13, 14.
Absolutely.
And you know, like the questions you may needed to ask, you didn't get the chance to.
Nope, I didn't. A lot of them questions I didn't even get to ask my uncles. I asked guys that I grew up with.
Why didn't you ask your uncles?
I don't know. I guess somewhat ashamed. You know, didn't want to go talking to them about sex and stuff like that.
Mm.
You know what I'm supposed to do, what I'm not supposed to do.
Mm.
Figure I can talk to somebody that I'm close knit with, that I'm with every day, and gets me and is pretty much like me. You know what I mean?
What's your favorite memory that you have of your dad?
I just remember my dad coming in. Like one time, I wanted a football. You know, we used to play football back then a lot outside. We'd be outside on a day like today playing football, and I wanted a new football. And I remember he said, "Okay, I'll get that football for you." Weeks had went by, and then one day he came over and he had groceries, so he had me come outside with the groceries, get the groceries. So as I'm coming back out, I'm thinking to get the last set of groceries. He's at the car too. And he said, "Hey, I got one more bag for you." I said, "What's that?" He had a football in a bag, like wrapped up in like a store bag, a Kmart bag, and he threw the football at me. And I caught it. Man, I was so happy that day. I mean, for days and weeks. And I still think about that particular time to this day. To this day. I have a number of memories, but for some reason, that particular memory right there, him throwing that football at me, because he had never thrown a football at me before. I mean, it was perfect. It was spiraled right on the money, too. I didn't even know my dad knew how to throw a football. And that was a big memory for me.
How do you think?
And he used to take us to the air shows, too.
At
the airplane. Yeah, out to Selfridge Air Force Base. Every year, that was his thing.
That's fire.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
That's how I got, back then, that's how I got connected with your Uncle Kevin and your Uncle Sam.
Yeah, because
he used to take us.
Yeah, I think you showed me a picture of them, like in front of the plane or something like that. How do you feel like the missing of your father at those like formative ages, like informed your fathering style and like the things that you know how to do and not how to do? Because he was there or he wasn't there during certain ages.
He was there. It influenced me to be the provider that I am, because I seen my dad work like day and night to make sure we was good. You know what I'm saying? And that's where I get it. That's where I get it from.
I think you know me. I'm the most emotional child in the house.
Yes.
But I had emotions, but I wasn't emotionally intelligent. Like I couldn't explain them or express. I could express them, but I couldn't explain
why you were feeling the way you were feeling or whatever. Yeah.
And for a long time it was like I didn't understand why you couldn't get it. You know what I'm saying? Like I think as a kid, like I had you and mom, but there's a feminine side of emotions like that you express, and you can there's a softness to it, and then like certain emotions that you have as a man, like you know what I'm saying, like I have a bad relationship with my anger, but I never was shown like how to express aggression and channel it into things, and so my understanding and the understanding that I came to probably in the past year is that our relationship was really good when I was the ages you were when you had your dad. You know what I'm saying? Probably until I was 12, 6th grade, 5th grade. And then it started peaking. Not peaking, it started dipping. And I think it was because of you don't really have no examples to look at anymore.
True.
You know what I'm saying? Where do you think our relationship, when did you start noticing our relationship taking a turn from being so involved, us being so at each other at the hip, you know what I'm saying? You feeling I look up to you as a hero and all these things, to when do you feel your emotion changed to where you could feel that we were kind of having a different relationship?
Probably, like you said, about 12, about 6th, 7th grade, something like that.
Did anything happen that you can remember?
No, nothing happened. I think on my end it was a lot of pressure with providing and trying to keep that roof over our head at that particular time, and business was up and down. So that pressure, a lot of that pressure was on me. It was on me, tough.
Do you feel like you was hyper focused on like that specific form of providing?
Yep. Once I had got us to a certain level, I couldn't see us going back.
Yeah.
I wanted to get y'all out of the neighborhood, get y'all in a nice neighborhood, so that you ain't have, I could go to work and be comfortable knowing everything's okay. You know what I mean? Versus, okay, they was outside playing and somebody did a drive-by. You know what I mean? Or somebody was speeding up and down the street and hopped the curb and hit Michi on his bike. You know what I'm saying? I had that comfort once we moved over to Dearborn Heights, but I also had a lot of pressure on having to be able to pay the bills too. Because we jumped up in bills quite a bit over there.
You could sense it too. I think like, I don't know, I'm the most observant, not to like keep talking about myself in comparison to my brothers, but it's like I'm the youngest, so all I can really, like my voice doesn't really have a place, like I remember voicing things like, we like a family more. Everybody like, man, you tripping. I'm like, no, I'm noticing these things changing. You know what I'm saying? But then at a point, I'm like, all right, let me just stop expressing them.
Yeah, I remember you saying one time, this isn't a home. This is just a house. I was like, my God. I said, man, we should stay on Burt Road there. We sitting on top of each other in that little shrimp shack.
It's funny to think that, because I don't remember saying any of these things, but it's funny to think that like
that stuff hurt.
Yeah,
I'm busting my knuckles. Your mom busting her knuckles. I'm not just saying it was just me, but your mom busting her knuckles too. And it's like, wow, they don't even appreciate this shit. So.
Yeah, I always, like recently being an adult, like, because as a kid, you're pretty selfish, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Not in the sense of like, give me, take, but I only can think about my own perspective, my own emotions. Mm-hmm. But like as an adult, I'm like, oh, like sometimes you can give everything you got. Yeah. And it still be like, that's not what I want from you. Or give me less of this and give me a little more bit of this. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so like, I always wonder like, how did things I say like affect you? Because you never showed me. You know what I'm saying? You never talked to me and be like, man, I got a lot of pressure. Mm-hmm. I got a lot of stress. Like I'm growing.
Well, at that time, I didn't think at that age you probably would even understood really. I should have gave you more credit and explained it and broke it down to you. I know we talk about stuff like that now. Yeah. And you can relate. And I mean, I remember you telling me about a situation when you lived in California and how you felt when you came home, and I think you and Lo had the place, or it might have been you and Lo and somebody else, and everything was just in a disarray. You was like, oh man, I'm out here working. I see what you mean. Then I come home and the house was tore up.
Yeah,
it's
man.
Like, man, I'm my dad all over again.
You know what I'm saying? Just stuff like that. Like, or even like now, like having to take trash out. I'm like, oh, I was doing these chores as a kid. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So like
all yesterday, of that's planning you for your adulthood.
Yeah, you don't see the bigger picture. See that as a kid. Not at all. Like I spilled something earlier, and I was like, oh man, I gotta clean this up.
Like guess what? Like cutting grass. Coming from the Herman Gardens, we didn't have to cut grass. Yeah. That was community stuff. They had people that do that. Just like in an apartment or a condo, they had people do that. But like when the snow would fall, my mama didn't have to tell me to go outside and shovel the snow. I knew I had to go outside and shovel snow. You know what I mean? And then cutting grass, I learned that from one of the uncles, Uncle Wayne. So when we brought the house on Burt Road, it wasn't nothing, I wasn't no stranger to cutting grass. I already knew how. I got to do this. What I got to do. Part of that growing up and the adulthood.
Do you feel like, because you grew up pretty fast.
I did.
Do you feel like as like an adult now, you like kind of chase after like childlike things? Or do you still feel like there's a child in you?
I'm chilling. I live everything through you guys now. I watch you guys, you and Myron and the grandbabies. I just watch y'all, man. It just cracks me up. It don't bother me either. Like I might have got upset because there's too much noise in the house or something back when you were growing up or something. That don't bother me now. I love seeing the kids do their thing.
Given where our relationship was when Myron was born, do you think, like, how did you think when you were like having to come to me and tell me that like you were having a kid? Like, what did you think my reaction would be? How do you think my perspective would be?
I thought you were gonna hate me, actually. Yeah, I did. Thought you was gonna hate me.
How was my reaction?
Disown me. And you said.
How do I disown
you said, "Oh, wait a minute. I'm about to be a big brother. I'm about to have a little brother." So your reaction, it was total opposite of what I thought it would be.
Mm.
Yeah.
You know,
You were excited.
I never think that you as an adult would get nervous like to talk to me about things.
Mm-hmm.
You never like think of that perspective because I'm like a kid before. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I'm just thinking that parents are such different beings than us. They don't have the same emotions or handling or understanding. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't.
We fall down. We make mistakes.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think a big thing that like helped with our relationship and like getting to like a place that was okay is like I had to realize like you're a parent, but you're a person.
Mm-hmm.
Like separate the title of who you are and what you mean to me, and like understand that I don't do everything perfectly every day.
And we have to do that too with you guys. Like that's my son, but he's a person too.
Yeah. I think a big part for me with our relationship was like it got very like at a point you was like the antagonist for me. Mm-hmm. Like I don't know, it was weird. It was like hard to like deal with because we were so close when I was like younger. Mm-hmm. And it like just completely did like a 180 to where like I felt like you didn't like care about me. I know that's funny for you to hear, but like, you know, like in time frames when I'm like self-harming and I'm distant, you know what I'm saying? It was like I didn't feel seen in our household.
Well, at that time I was illiterate to the self-harming and that kind of thing. So, and I couldn't really understand, I couldn't grasp why you felt the way you did. You know, I'm coming from a parent's eyes, I'm looking like, he's got everything. I couldn't get it. Over the years, I've grown to understand more and be more compassionate towards those kind of things.
I think that's what made it hard too. It's like they don't get it. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? We had so many conversations where like you were saying the same things. Like you got everything. Like what's wrong with you? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, again, I told you I wasn't like emotionally intelligent, so I can't tell you really what's wrong with me. But I also don't feel safe talking about it. I don't feel like it's gonna be understood. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And then yourself, you feel crazy. Like, why am I doing this? You know what I'm saying? But I think like when a lot of people passed away, like great grandma passed away, Pops passed away. When I think what really like the first death that really affected me was Chico. Mm-hmm. Like Chico, I don't talk about it a lot, but like Chico and Didi, that's probably like the ones that hurt me the most. They were taken, you know. Yeah. Chico hanging himself was like, I couldn't wrap my mind around it.
Right. Nobody.
That someone that I seen every day was gone. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And then
it was a total shock.
That was when I was in 4th grade. Didi was murdered in 5th. Yeah. And so it was like, again, somebody that I like seen, you know, like I spent time with.
That bothers grown folks. Like I was just talking to that person. We just talked this morning. What do you mean? What do you mean they're gone?
Yeah.
You know, that bothers you for a while. It's different when it's a person that you might not see every day or deal with every day or communicate or might not even say, oh, I ain't seen him in years. But, oh, yeah, I remember him. Let me go pay my respects. It's different when you got a relationship with somebody and they just... I think I was okay with Reggie because Reggie was sick. But when a person's not sick and they just... Yeah, that really do something to you.
What do you think got our relationship to like a point where it was like positive?
I don't know. I want to say, would you say when you moved to California, you said we was positive then or no? Or you talking about the last couple of years?
Yeah, like the last couple of years. We was up and down when I was in Cali, but yeah. I don't talk on the phone.
I liked when you don't. Because that used to irk the shit out of me. Like, damn, why the fuck I'm calling him and calling him and calling him for a week. He ain't returned my call. But like when you would call and ask my advice on certain things, like we was going through the car situation, and I need to talk to your mechanic and all of that. I felt proud then, you know. I'm like, dang, he calling his dad. You know what I mean? That's what I've been wanting. But over the last couple of years, what do I think made our relationship become positive? I think Myron being in the picture has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah. You moving back to Michigan definitely has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, I think me being
I was more happy for you moving back than anybody, I think, really. You know, besides your mom. I know your mom happy.
Yeah, I think like, cause I'm an in-person person, you know what I'm saying? I like to spend time. So like when I'm on the phone, I don't feel like I'm spending time. But yeah, I definitely think with Myron being there too, it's like how much love I have for him. It's like it'd be times where like when I first would come over, like I would come over with somebody all the time because I was so uncomfortable with like you. And like people would be like, you know, like you don't act like yourself when you like at your house. And like you get quieter, like you don't talk as much and you get like really shut down. And I'm like, I didn't notice that. But then I would pay attention to it. I'm like, oh yeah, I don't like our conversations when you talk to me. I'm like dry. I'm like stiff. But like as time went by, I think like that's when I'm like comfortable to come over by myself and we'll talk about whatever. Right. You know what I'm saying? But I always wanted our relationship to get to a point like this, but it was like times where I never saw this happening. Like it was times where I like blocked your number and was just like, I'm not talking to him. We're not gonna ever talk ever again.
Yeah, I know.
I think it was just like a lot of like I don't know. I didn't think you I didn't think you like. Not I didn't think you were like disappointed in me, but I just didn't think you like were proud of me. Like I think that's like the thing was like I always was trying to like seek out your like validation. Oh man,
I was always proud of you. Every time you did, I was more proud of you than you were. You know what I'm saying? Every time you did anything, man, I always bragged and boasted about it. I wanted you to just keep going, though. I couldn't just always, like me being a dad, you know, I want to say, I'm proud of you, I'm proud of you, I'm proud of you. But you need to do a little bit more, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you need to go to the next level. So I would just, you know, keep it to a minimum. Hey, good job, good job. I like that. You know what I'm saying? And then a lot of stuff I didn't know you were actually doing until I got, you know, I wasn't a fan of social media.
Yeah.
I only got on Twitter so I could see what he's doing and keep up with it. And once I seen everything from that perspective, I was like, yeah, okay, my man, he doing it. You know, he on the positive. You know, he on the path. You know.
I think like for me, it was like I had to realize too, like, because like I have this analogy of like you know like a fort, like old fortresses, like what they make, and it's to keep people out and keep the people inside safe. So when we build our walls up, we make this fort. But it's like you keep all the bad stuff up with you. How do you know the difference between good or bad? You know what I'm saying? How do you know? You're not allowing anything in
at all. Or out.
Yeah. So it's like I would shut you out so that I'm not disappointed. But by shutting you out and not being disappointed, I'm also still disappointed because I'm not getting good or bad. Like I can't be disappointed, but I also can't be like relieved. Like you can't show me anything different. And so it was like, all right, let me start talking to you about stuff. Let me start showing you this stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you the coolest cat apparently, as you said, but you know, like your response would just be like, good job. I'm like, cool.
That's it?
You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, bet. Like, but it'd be like, it's like I put so much stuff into it. You know what I'm saying? Like having to pick the color, having to design it, having to call this person, having to test it. And it's like, oh damn, just good job. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? And then you got like my job in the bed in the trunk. I mean, at the truck, like an old like 2005, like Ford before they got like a real muscular, like big body. And you got like the Love truck stop, just like a truck there. You know what I'm saying? And then we have like inspiration from this is like a picture like you and Myra like that. You know what I'm saying? Like pictures like this where it's very like remember I asked you a while ago, like, do you have any pictures that you in front of your truck when you first got it? You're like, no. I talked to Deontay about that and I'm like, imagine an accomplishment like that and it's not captured. Yeah. But then I'm like, think about who was behind the camera most of the time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so like, I don't even feel like that sometimes when I'm taking pictures of everything else going on. I got
hey, can you take this picture? And like, you know, it don't even feel the same. You know what I'm saying? So those photos are like say like these tomorrow are like the inspiration for what we're doing tomorrow, where it's very like the background is minimal, where it's really just focused on the person, like bringing them out. And then I'm doing like environmental shots of Detroit and like truck stops and gas stations, and there's all those things that fit into that. But this is like those cameras that I have, we're taking them on those. Where it's like you would find that in our photo box. You know what I'm saying? Like it really looks like this was taken to capture that moment. But then it also adds to that. You know what I'm saying? So like 20 years from now, you may remember that was in a lookbook, but you also like, man, I was 2 when we did this video.
I got a picture of him in the truck. Each took. We sitting in the driver's seat, and he playing around, standing up in my lap, playing around with the steering wheel and the horn and that kind of shit.
And then this is like all like industrial revolution stuff, because you know I was when like everybody was working, kids, everybody
for sure.
And then that's like the shoot. So we break it down. So we go from what's the idea for the shoot, and then we're like, all right, who do we think fits that? So say when I printed out, like there's these models that we didn't pick, but like we liked how they looked. But then we may not have like how she looked with him, and the ensemble of like, does that actually make sense for them to be together, or just throwing people together? And so we end up picking those, 7? And then it's like, all right, who actually looked like they could be truck driver? And so like he's his dad, and he's like a big burly dude. But then it's like the generation of like the generational passing down of a career of like, this is what I did, and I'm passing it on to
my son.
You know what I'm saying? So it's an older looking dude with his younger son. You know what I'm saying? That's realistic. And it's like the homie who's bald, got a tattoo on his head. You know what I'm saying? Like where the things he do is like he like runs like concerts and stuff, but he has those tattoos, and you don't look at him and be like, oh, he's a doctor or he works here.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
he blue collar.
He is, yeah, exactly. And then we have my friend Aiden's brother, who's again like big and burly dude. You know what I'm saying? And so we do all that stuff, and then we select photographers that video. Probably look like 1,000 photographers for like 5 different shoots. So say like Allie, who is doing the shoot for Monday, she I like her studio shoots a lot. I feel like she excels in like studio shoots, being able to manipulate the light and stuff like that. But say like this photo right here is the photographer I'm using. And I saw it and I was like, that looks amazing. And like this photo is his stuff too. This photo is his stuff. This photo is his stuff. And you're looking at that, that's like exactly what I just explained to you I want to capture. So it's like right already up his alley. So then we pick all those people. And then you even say like the hats. Like the hat I'm wearing. I gotta first pick the color. Well, I don't even first pick the color. First I make the design. We made the design like 2 years ago. Then we start sampling like beanies. And so I'm like, what beanies do I like? So then I measure those, figure out how those are made, what material is made of, and then we go with the colors. But like on Photoshop or like on the internet, there's like different. It's a lot. There's on the internet, web colors are different than like real life tangible colors.
Yeah.
And so I have to look through like a book of colors, which I don't know where it is right now. Oh, it's right. So I have to look through like a Pantone book.
Oh man.
I gotta look through like a Pantone
work.
book. Yeah. And then we decide like, okay, that matches to what I want. So like, you know what I'm saying? What I want if it is like a wine red. Okay. And then like a closer, like lighter, like infrared orange color on it to make it stand out. And then we go through all those, we pick those. And then it's about the sampling process. So then we sample it. Like these are all samples. So we went from like having the colors and then we like made them.
Sweet.
You know what I'm saying? And then, yeah.
Sweet.
But that's what my days look like.
And I think that was like, all right, let me take a step back and stop critiquing everything. Like to what my standard is of what I want you to like give me, and just like learn how to accept different forms of the like the ways you're showing me things. But yeah, it was really hard for like a really long time. Cause too, I would be trying to like talk to you about stuff like that I like struggle understanding, like struggle like with from like the moments that happened to like now, you know what I'm saying? Like also trying to make sense of it so that I can make sense of how it affected me. And it just wouldn't feel like you was trying to hear me. But I also feel like you felt like I was like blaming you. Mm-hmm. And I really was just trying to like hash things out so that you knew like what you did, how it affected me. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you can understand like why I may be like hesitant with things or like things like that. But every time I talked to you, it was like, you can't move forward. You can't move forward. You keep living in the past. And then I'd be frustrated because I'm like, you be talking to me like, you used to be so close when I was on your baseball coach. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that's the past. Like, you talking about the past, I'm talking about the future. You know what I'm saying? And so like, it just always felt like we was on different planes with like the same end goal, but like on different planes.
Right. Let me ask you this. Do you think there was more bad than good or more good than bad?
In our relationship?
Yeah. Growing up. Period.
I can't remember all of it, but I definitely think it was more good. Okay. If it's either more good or it's equal. Okay. But I want to say like the bad was so crazy. Like the bad was like crazy. Mm-hmm. Like the bad fucked me up. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But you don't get scars from good things. Mm-hmm. You can't like, you know what I'm saying? You get a scar because something bad happened. You always remember what bad happened.
True. The
good things are fleeing because it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like I have so many good memories. Like I think one of my favorite memories was how we used to go bowling. Like bowling is probably the one thing that brings me so much peace, and I can like put that towards like the time that we spent bowling. And so, definitely not to say it's all bad memories, but like the bad ones just stick there longer, especially when like you don't have explanation, you don't have like sorry, or you don't have, you know what I'm saying? Like, the good things you don't need explanations for. Like you're not looking for validation or like understanding of like, why did my dad take me bowling every Friday? It's like, oh, he wanted to. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of in the pudding, but like certain things, like why'd you say this? Why'd you do this? It's like. And then too, like the answer to that, man, I'd be like, I don't know. I wasn't myself. And then you don't want to say that because that don't sound good enough. True. You know what I'm saying? I think what's like the things that stick with me the most is like the time when I was banging on the door and Deontay was in the bathroom.
Kicking on the door.
Yeah, I was banging, kicking on the door.
Banging and kicking on the door.
And you came out, I don't know if you whooped me first, but I fell. Mm-hmm. And then you started stumping me. And I think like,
do you remember I said earlier I had 2 regrets?
Yeah.
Not graduating high school was one. This is the second one.
I don't remember it. It was like, cause I was in West Village. I think I was like 3rd grade. But I had to like go back. I still had to go to school and like act like that didn't happen. I didn't really like understand why I did. But yeah, why do you regret that?
Cause it shouldn't have happened. I should have been more. I should have been calmer. At that time, like I said, not making excuses, but I was working hard, struggling to pay the bills, and now here we go, somebody kicking my door, and that somebody is my son, and I'm like, man, I'm going out working hard to pay for this house, and you just kicking on the doors like we in an outhouse somewhere, you know what I mean? And I snapped. I shouldn't have. And I did. I snapped. And I went overboard with it.
What was like your the rest of your day like? Like how did you
Fucked up. I almost didn't even finish working. I almost just went home and just got in the bed and just cried myself to sleep. I talked to Larry Lee all day about that. I said, man, you gotta make it right, man. You gotta make it right. I forget what the term is he calls that. Oh man, I had to call him and find out. He done took all kind of classes about the mental health and all of that. And he displaced anger or something he called it. I forget the exact term.
It's probably displaced anger.
And he said, man, you got that, man. You need to chill out. You need to go make it right, man. Sit that boy down and talk to him. And we went to Chili's not on Fort Road, but on Plymouth and Middle Belt. Just me and you that day. And we talked about it. I apologized for it. And that's something I never got over. I know you never got over it, of course. It happened to you. But me being on the other end of it, it has bothered me also.
How do you apologize? Like what is that like? You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
like how do you? Because I'm a kid, so it's like my rationality is not there.
It wasn't. I apologize, son. It'll never happen again. I apologize. But you had this stale look in your face with me apologizing. Like you had this look like, yeah, right, you know, and that crushed me. Rightfully so.
I don't even remember that. Like at all.
You told me that.
I think like trauma blocked it out. I didn't remember it for a long. I didn't remember that moment until I was like 18. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I didn't remember none of it. But even when you told me, you said you took me out, I don't remember that at all.
And we went out that day, same day.
How was our relationship after that? Like
rocky.
Literally that following year or so.
Rocky. I could see the fear in you of me when you see me or whenever you was around me, and I never wanted you to feel that way.
Yeah, I used to be really scared of you.
I don't know.
Like, I probably just stopped being scared of you like when I was like last year, or like when we became like solid. But it was just like, I don't know, you know, like I don't know where your head at, and I don't know how you feel about me. You know what I'm saying? Cause I'm not good. Like words aren't good for me. Like I'm actions. So like the actions were not good. You know what I'm saying? Like you're telling me you love me. Like I love you more than anything. Mm-hmm. But like words, like in any like dynamic, don't really like affect me. Mm-hmm. Even with me, I'm good with my words, but I'm not good with like affirming people with my words.
Right.
But I can do it with my actions. I can do it by doing something for you. You know what I'm saying? I can do it by like all these things. But the way I receive things, words don't really help. And so I think like the actions I was seeing, like the grand actions were like bad ones. And so it was like just terrified. Like I just didn't know. And like, you know, like when you and mom were like into it, it's like I was really the only one there. You know what I'm saying? I felt like really alone in the sense of like Dion at college. I think at one point DeAndre moved to LA. And then Deontay's always outside. So it was just like, you were bigger than a man in me. You know what I'm saying? Like you were bigger than like that. I think that moment like exaggerated you to like way larger than life. You know what I'm saying? Like the damage you could do. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, y'all left me here to protect. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so I was always on edge. And I think like at a point like,
we all were on edge. age too.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was, and I think that's when like I would say like this house is just house, not home. It's like, the change wasn't. It was gradual, but I noticed it a while ago. But it wasn't things like that. It was like we just don't spend family time together. So how I'm saying like the actions are bad. It's like the things that would have made up or like it leveled it out. It's like if we consistently be around each other, make good memories. You know what I'm saying? Not to cover them up, but just to keep the balance going. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like you and mine would get into it. I remember, I don't know what y'all got into it about, but I think I was in 5th grade or like 6th, and I thought y'all was getting a divorce. And I remember telling my mama, like, I understand, like, how my friends feel now. Like, my friends whose parents are together feel now. Because, like, y'all, like, our family was, like, my life. Like you said, like, I didn't go outside and, like, I was sheltered. So, like, all I had was our home. Like, I literally didn't hang out with no friends until 8th grade, like, outside of school. Right. I know we talk about it a lot and, like, often of just, like, how you saying, like, you felt like you stayed longer than you should have in a situation that like wasn't exactly like beneficial for your like mindset, like your mind space. Mm-hmm. For me, how do you feel about that decision? Like, do you feel like knowing me now and things I felt and like the things that like, because I feel like y'all being together
was toxic,
and it made everything else toxic. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all the patriarch and the minor.
Yeah, if I had to do it all over again. We started having major problems in 2008. So I think if I had, and we just moved over there in 2005.
Yeah.
So if I had to do it all over again, yeah, we would have split in 08. Cause staying together, so that was 8 more years.
Yeah.
In them 8 more years, a lot was done and said that didn't have to be done and said. And I think at one point I had resentment towards you because I felt like I was staying because of you, but in the process I'm miserable. Yeah. And I'm making y'all miserable too. So if I had to do it all over again, and if anybody ever asked me, don't stay for the family. You know what I mean? You a lot of times you can cause more problem by doing that. You know, like I did. Cause me. You saw me in a way that in them times during them 8 years, you saw me in a way that I had never even seen myself. Mm-hmm. I didn't even know I had stuff like that in me. You know what I mean? So yeah, if I had to do it all over again, yeah.
Yeah, man, y'all was terrifying.
Yeah, we were.
And like, I don't know, I used to have like nightmares and stuff about it too. I have like very vivid dreams, so it'd be like hard for me to like, and because I don't sleep so often, it's like, I don't know what happened. I can't remember what my memories are or what are dreams. But I remember it got so bad, I called the cop.
You did.
I called the
time cops ever got called to the house, you did it.
I didn't know what to do because y'all was fighting,
and that was like
our mama ran over me. Like to get to you, she like ran over me. She like stepped on me. And I'm like, oh, this is.
It was like 2 pit bulls in there.
Yeah, I just didn't know how to handle that. Like, and then like I remember I talked to the school like counselor and like everybody was mad at me. I can't fucking talk to y'all. Y'all not letting me talk to y'all. Y'all not hearing me. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody, like, whatever happened to these 4 walls, you're keeping these 4 walls. I'm like, I can't fucking talk to y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all not understanding my perspective because Deontay, if I'm like, I was in like 6th, 7th grade. Deontay's out of high school. You know what I'm saying? So he like is thinking like, yeah, it's just how relationships be. You know what I'm saying? And then like
he's in it. Same thing.
Exactly. And so like I'm a kid, so I'm like, no, this is not normal. Yeah. But yeah, I think well I wanted to ask like how do you said you resented me for like staying, like you being the reason I was staying.
That was me though. That was me being immature and in some way wanting to blame you when it wasn't your fault. It was my fault. You know what I mean? It was our fault, the adults.
How do you think that manifested itself? Like how did it show itself? Like your resentment?
It showed it by my reactions to every little thing you would do or say. If I snap on you for this or for that, it's because I'm feeling like I wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for you. You know what I'm saying? So that's where, you know, the immaturity on my level came in at.
I think like I felt that. I think I definitely felt it. That's why I was telling you like.
That's why I brought it up this summer, and I told you. You know, I felt like as man to man, I can talk to you now about it and tell you I had resentment. Yeah. And I took my resentment out on you. And I shouldn't have. It wasn't you. It was me. You know, I had a choice to stay or leave a long time ago. I chose to stay, figuring, okay, I helped your mom raise her kids. Why am I going to bail out on mine? Mm. But in actuality, me staying brought out a different person. You know what I'm saying? A different person. You got to see a person you should have never seen. Nobody should have never seen. Like I said, I didn't even know I had a lot of that anger that I had. I didn't know I had it in me.
I definitely like, I thought you hated me. You remember like when I tweeted on Facebook, I put on Facebook, if y'all didn't want me, y'all should have had an abortion.
I think I remember somebody.
Y'all beat my ass. You beat my ass. But that was like how I was feeling. I felt like y'all didn't want me. Like I felt like I was like a mistake. Like, and like you saying like you were like blaming me, but like also like my mom was like there for me, but it was like also y'all both were angry. Mm-hmm. So the moments where she not being like nurturing, she also was being angry to me too. And I don't really have anybody to talk to. I felt like I was the problem of y'all relationship. Like you remember when we went to counseling, like the thing I walked away from that was like your parents' issues aren't yours. And I'm like, thank you, because I did not feel that way. I feel like I was the problem with this. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I walked away from that, like, and was in that moment of those things, feeling like if I do this right consistently, like I was really hard on myself, like, because I feel like if I was perfect, then like y'all would be okay. And then it's like every time I would fail at something, I like would like I don't know if you remember, I used to like cry like when I like was doing my math problems, like because I was just like I can't get this right. Like, I need to get this right. Like, it was a lot like at stake. You know what I'm saying? And I just didn't really understand like how to be better so y'all could be better. Like I felt like my progress was directly connected to like y'all's successfulness of a marriage.
Okay. No, that wasn't the case. I think you were putting that on your shoulders when it should have been on our shoulders, you know what I mean? Your focus should have been just being a young adult and getting the math problems together.
You remember when y'all found out I was like suicidal and self-harming?
Yeah, I didn't understand it. When she told me you were cutting, I'm like, cutting? What's that?
You thought I was cutting hair?
I was like, what's that? And she broke it down to me, and I'm like, you know, I'm a typical James Evans, man. What's wrong with that boy? You know? So I didn't take it serious at first, you know what I mean? Because I wasn't educated to it, you know what I mean? And I'm like, man, we black, man. This ain't what we do, you know? And once I got educated to it, I think I became a little more, you know, nurturing.
When do you think you like started taking it more serious?
After, I think one time I seen something on your face one time.
I was gonna ask if you remember that.
And I was like, what is that boy doing? What's going on? And you wouldn't tell me. I'm like, man, somebody doing something to you? Somebody putting their hands on you? What's going on? And that's when it really started hitting me in the face. I gotta see what's going on, you know, and get some education on this.
Yeah, I remember that because I
it was like a scar on your face.
I burned myself. Yeah. Like I was burning myself, and y'all end up coming home. And it's funny that you say that because that's when I was like, oh, you care. Like I was confused because like there was like a time before like where I like was cutting my wrist and I like you and mom came home while I was walking upstairs from like the downstairs bathroom, And I just like y'all didn't acknowledge me. I just walked to my room. Like my wrists were bloody. I just walked to my room. I'm like, oh. Like that's why I'm saying like when I say like I felt like invisible, it was like because I was. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all had so much going on that it was just like the concern wasn't there for me. But the things were like noticeable. It's not like I like hid them or anything like that. I definitely did wear hoodies a lot and like hid like scars and stuff, but or like while I was healing, stuff like that. But I think when you saw that and like I saw your reaction, I was like, oh, he cares. And that was funny because it was like you were so mad because you didn't think I did it to myself. You thought somebody did it to me, and you was like really pressing me about like what happened to you. Like tell me what happened to you right now. Like I'm like, I wish I could tell you so that you could continue to show me you care, but like I don't know how to tell you that this is happening because I can't explain it. But I remember
I was gonna pack you up and we was gonna go deal with it, whoever it was.
Yeah, I can sense that. I can sense that in your tone. You and mom had got into it like my ninth grade. That's when y'all was arguing the most. That's also when I was the most like going through it like alone, because that's when I went to Roboshard. So I had friends I was hanging with outside of school. They were like good friends, but they weren't the best influences. That's like the first time I smoked, all types of stuff. But y'all got into it and she had locked herself in the bathroom. And you know, I sleep in your room, so I just like was in your room watch TV. And I went to go check on her and the door was locked. Like your bathroom door is never locked. She been in the bathroom, like the shower wasn't running. She was just in the bathroom. Ain't heard no toilet flush and that. Like just stuff that, cause I'm going through it, I pay attention to. And the bathroom is the most like private space that you can have. So like, if I'm thinking from the space of like, that's where I go like hurt myself, then I'm sure that's where somebody, like my mind just panicked. And so I knock on the door and she like answered, but it's real low. And then I keep knocking and she like I'm good. And then like I'm like, just open the door, like let me talk to you. And when she opened the door, she's like on the floor and she like crying, like I don't want to be here anymore. And it's different like when somebody say I don't want to be here anymore and they just don't want to be in a state of life that they're in right now. Like they want to move forward. But I can hear the pain in her voice of like knowing that it's like I don't want to be alive anymore. And like I was telling you earlier, like the thing we have with humans is like we're a lot more connected than we think we are. All it needs is for you. All you really need to feel connected is to understand like you're not alone. Like it's crazy to think that we think we're alone in our experiences and the things we go through. When there's billions of us, you know what I'm saying? We all at the same root have like, we get there, like there's different layers of it, but at the root of a lot of like things we feel is the same like few emotions. Right. And then they branch off into like deeper versions of each other. Right. But I just told her, I was like, yeah, like I like self-harm and like I'm like very suicidal. Like you didn't know this, but like I'm telling her that so she can like understand like I'm fighting.
What she
like you don't have to hide this from me, like you know what I'm saying? And I felt betrayed. I understand why she did it because it was coming from a place of concern, but I felt betrayed like the next day when it's like, all right, family meeting, you should be cutting yourself. And I'm like, this is crazy. this is not what I needed after taking the algebra test. But that was like another thing too of like, I'm like letting y'all down. Like I felt like, I don't know, I just felt like I was burdening everybody with like my issues. And then of course like they were like, not just my issues because y'all care about me, but like, it felt like I was transferring the energy that I was feeling. And like, I never wanted anybody to feel how I was feeling. Or I didn't want y'all to like I'm aware that like y'all could have paid better attention to me and I could have did certain things better, but it's like, I'm not the one to like point fingers and be like, this is your fault. You know what I'm saying? Cause Dion started crying, he like, I'm trained to like notice this stuff and
he didn't.
And he like, I didn't notice it. He started crying, you know what I'm saying? Like, your reaction was not good. Your reaction was horrible. You start yelling at me. He's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I was like, I don't know. I can't tell you. But in general, it was just like, oh, everybody knows now. Like this is. But then later, over time, it became like
everybody knows, so everybody cares. Everybody can show me that they care. I can be there. The first couple of times, I'll be like, "How you doing? You good?" Like, I'm like,
are they for real or they just?
Yeah, what the fuck are y'all asking me this about? You know what I'm saying? Like, is this a joke or like
just for today?
Yeah, you know, I couldn't get used to it. But then it's like, I think that's where I learned in that it's more strong. Like you have it takes more strength to be vulnerable than it does to
absolutely
keep things in. But also that like when you share everything, it removes the power people have over it. When things are secret, the people who know the secret have power over you. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I remember when I was in like school, like 10th grade year, like my Twitter and my Tumblr was like a space where I could like really be myself because I didn't have a lot of followers and like that. And one of the homies had seen like a depressed tweet. He's like, "Oh, that tweet yesterday, bro. You want to kill yourself?" I'm like, no. Like,
oh yeah, nah, okay.
Nah, man. That's hell no, man. That's weird. No. But then I'm like, I don't feel comfortable because nobody knows. And this one person knew. And if he think it's weird, he gonna tell other people it's weird, and now I'm being a weird nigga. And then I was like, all right, there's power in sharing this because like I'll share it and then somebody else will be like, man, I didn't even know anybody else felt that way. But even like musicians I would listen to.
Opening up.
Yeah. And that's like, now we see that we're not alone. And then now you could be there for a person. But I noticed that and learned that from like going from thinking y'all don't give a fuck to over the years, it's like, all right, we paying more attention to him. We like learning in these things. Like that made me realize I have to give people a chance to understand versus like writing them off.
Right.
How do you feel now? Like with the things, I like deal with? Like how do you, like what are your thoughts on it? Not thoughts, but like concerns or like do you have any like?
Oh yeah, I'm always concerned about you. Like what's his space right now? How's he doing? You know what I mean? Especially when I don't hear from you, and I've called you, and I still don't hear from you. I might text your mom, "Hey, is Meech okay? Yeah, I seen him today, or I talked to him today. He was good earlier." Okay, then I don't worry about it no more. You know what I mean? I know you good, but yeah, I still have those thoughts. Whereas, how's he doing today? I mean, because I know you get overwhelmed with your work. You know what I mean? And I know how that can be myself. You get overwhelmed with work, you just feel like, let me just go somewhere. You know what I mean? And I just be wanting to make sure you in a good space,
How have you been like adjusting your mental health?
Oh, I'm good. I don't have no issues.
What did it take to get there?
God. I've been going to church on a regular. I joined the church, so I'm praying more. I used to pray, but not nowhere near as much as I do now. And I wasn't going to church nowhere as near as I do now.
What kind of stuff do you pray about, if you mind me asking?
Just praying for family, praying for health and wealth, and I pray for my mom a lot because I know she's getting up in age, and I want her to be. I want her to be graceful. No illness, no ailments, no illnesses and stuff like that. I pray a lot for you too. You and your business to flourish, continue flourishing.
How do you feel about what I do? Like what I do and what I like meeting people and things I talk about.
As far as
mental health.
Your mental health. I think it's a good thing, putting it out there in the mainstream, and people that, like you said, like we just said earlier, like some people be feeling some kind of way, but be afraid to express it because they don't want to feel like, I'm that goofy nigga, you know what I'm saying, or I'm that weirdo, you know what I mean. You giving people the okay to just say, hey man, it's okay to come out and talk to folks about this, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I didn't have that when I used to have those thoughts. I never did go. I had thoughts of committing suicide.
When was this?
Early 20s. It seemed like there wasn't nothing going right. Couldn't get a break. working a bullshit job, making $6 an hour, can't get ahead. Gotta go slang this or slang that. You know what I mean? It's like, why am I doing all this? What for? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it feels pretty hopeless.
Yeah.
Life feels hopeless a lot.
Yeah.
I think that's like the overall feeling is like hopelessness. Cause like, what are we striving for?
That's it.
You know?
That's it.
Like,
And then I come from a neighborhood where nobody really had no dreams or aspirations. You know what I mean?
I think like that's what gets me is like the hopelessness. I get really down on myself when I feel like I'm not like fulfilling myself.
That's what happened to me. I mean, when me and your mom first started dating, you know, she had 3 kids. Deontay was a baby. He was like 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And on paper, she was making more money than me. You know what I mean? Who wants their girl to be making more money than me? Than them, honestly. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, you know, in order to make ends meet, I got to cut hair.
Mm-hmm.
I got to slang some bud. I got to do something, you know what I mean? And it got to the point, I'm like, man, I want more. You know what I mean? So those thoughts of suicide after I went to truck driving school and, you know, we started doing all right for ourselves. I never really had those thoughts of suicide. It was just in the younger days, my younger days when things wasn't going right and things just looked like, damn, I'm in a no-end situation. You know what I mean? Working at an auto parts store, making $6 an hour. How the hell I'm gonna support a family? You know what I mean? So after that, you know, I decided to go to truck driving school, and you know that helped get the family out the neighborhood, out the projects. Then I started feeling better about myself. You know what I mean? So after that, I didn't have those suicidal thoughts.
I try like to.
I think a big problem I have is like a lot of my like fulfillment comes from fulfilling other people.
Mm-hmm.
So I need like a partner. Like I need a duo. I can't fulfill another person without another person. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm trying to like figure out like what fulfills me solely by myself. You know, like what things can I do alone? Not that everything needs to be done alone because I love community, but like how can I be okay by myself? I think that's like my biggest like hurdle. There is something you said to me when I was younger that like, I have no idea why you said this. I have no idea.
I probably don't have no idea why I said it, but go ahead.
So we was getting a house paint. This one we was getting the accent wall. The brown one? The brown accent wall in the living room?
Living room? Family room?
And you know how when you paint, you even out the paint with razors?
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm talking about. That's why you smile.
I was just being an asshole, man.
For no reason.
I know.
That's the thing. I'm like, why would you say that to me? So I'm minding my business.
How old were you then?
I was probably like
You was
10th
13,
grade.
14. You was, yeah. See, I was thinking then that maybe you could just laugh it off too. Because I felt like because you were a little older, that you would probably get, but it was bad choice. It was bad choice.
So you was like, we gotta hide these razors from you because you know how you get. And I'm like, what is your problem? I was like, this is crazy. You're out of your mind right now. I remember looking at you and I was like, what?
Bad dad.
I just was so confused because I was like, I'm not even talking to you. I didn't do nothing. I'm just going to my room. Like it felt like he was punching me while I was down. I'm like, bro, what is happening right now?
Yeah, that's your dad.
But I think like your tactfulness with jokes is horrible.
Yeah, it is.
Like I know that now, like knowing now and talking to you and like having jokes.
You know, it's now I don't do that. I don't even joke really.
But it's like I know now like how it feels to say a joke. It's like, yeah, I should have said that. But as a kid, I'm not thinking that's a joke. It's not a joke to me. You know what I'm saying? I could joke about like I'll say the craziest shit now about my mental health because that's my source of making it livable. Yeah, it's like I gotta joke with it. You know what I'm saying? Like your insecurities, all these things, you gotta joke about yourself to be cool. True. But back then, I'm like, I'm hanging on by a thread. I don't know what's going on with you right now. But I'm about to go to this room and play Sims. You remember
I was bad for that. I was bad for that with Deontay too. Yeah.
You remember y'all bought me a Toshiba laptop?
I remember a couple of laptops. I don't remember the exact.
Y'all got me my first laptop, and I used to play The Sims on there, and that's where I learned how to graphic design.
Okay.
And that like has led me into everything I do now.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's funny that you talk about like the things of providing, but you probably like you don't. The fact you don't remember what kind of laptop it was is hilarious.
don't.
You know what I'm
It was a
saying?
laptop.
And just like
They was like, whatever the fuck you got, we want. Let's go get it. Whatever the fuck you want. Yeah.
you remember, I bought that MacBook. You know,
I remember you coming to us talking about. I don't know if it was that one or this one after that. It was like you was coming to get the okay, but you were spending your money. Once you said, "Oh no, it's got all kind of programs and this and that, and yeah, it's gonna help me go to the next level," I was like, "All right, bet, get it." You got a lot of skills too.
Well, thank you. Gotta have them, you know.
Yeah.
I'm learning though.
So some of the stuff I look at you doing, man, I can't even fathom doing.
Like what?
Man, just how you network, and it's like you a Fortune 500 company, or a CEO of a Fortune 500 company.
I'm happy to see it that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I got really good at talking to people when I was in LA.
Oh man, yeah, your skills, you done come a long way with like your speaking and how you deal with people. As a, you know, as a kid, you were shy. You wouldn't really talk too much.
It's crazy because like I tell people that.
Now you grown, can't get you to shut you up.
I tell people that. I'm like, bro, I used to be so shy as a kid. I didn't talk. Like, I can't imagine you not talking. Like, oh,
Yeah,
right.
for real.
I think all those like, cause I shine in class. Like you know, they give you incentives for answering questions.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there and you get so tired of like 10 people going and they don't got the answer. And like, bro,
Wait a minute. Let me go ahead and put y'all out there on misery.
And then I did used to do really good in presentations, but I was like still like socially shy to talk to people. And then once I started doing like the Young Entrepreneurs Academy, and then once I started like,
I think that opened you up right there too.
that was crazy.
Yeah, I think so.
Cause I'm like, I want to win this,
Yeah.
so I gotta talk. Cause at the beginning of them first classes, I didn't talk to nobody, and then I had a teammate, so I had to talk to him, I had to communicate with him, I had to learn how he communicates.
Mm-hmm. Sweet.
This is my cologne that he bought for me for Christmas with me. Like I was about to buy it, he was like, you know what, I'm about to be a Christmas gift. So what if I want Christmas? But I really like it. It's great.
Too, if you wanted to, you could cut it and just run a piece of tape across the bottom.
I like the little thing.
So you're gonna have to cut some of that access off right there.
Yeah.
No, cut some off.
Oh yeah.
Instead of folding it.
We never cut this up.
Like this right here, I would probably
Do like
go to the red.
top of the red?
Yeah, no. Go, yeah, there you go. Need the red there. There. Yeah, stand it up.
What you do on the side, right?
Now what you do, go in a little bit more.
With both? Oh, and then this is what
Yeah.
I'm creasing.
Yeah,
Okay.
do it that way. Yeah. Get you a crease there.
You know,
Yeah.
they got gift wrapping like starch.
No, I ain't know that.
No, actually.
Oh no,
That'd be
I ain't
fire.
up on it.
That'd be
Maybe
fire.
something you need to come out with.
Yeah. Go on Shark
What
Tank.
you do is look at your other side and see which one is
This
going
is
down.
what I'm saying.
No. So you need your flap.
Oh, they both got a match?
You wanna have it looking nice and neat. So your flap will be, see what I mean? So it's like uniform.
Yeah.
But you don't want your flap
When did you
on
start?
this side to be up.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
When did you start caring about gift wrapping? Like when you had your first Christmas as a father, did you care
I did.
how much you like did you know these unknown?
No, it was I learned all on trial and error. Probably went through about 18 rows of
Reagan, the wife of Ronald Reagan. Are you familiar with Ronald Reagan? War on drugs. was sucking everybody in Hollywood's penis.
Get out of here.
No cap. That's what we've heard. That's what Twitter is talking about.
Oh, Nancy. Nancy was Becky before Becky was Becky.
Man, Nancy was Nancy before Monica Lewinsky.
Wow, yeah, that too.
She was the wife.
Nancy's still alive, isn't she? Or did
Hell
she just
no.
pass?
Hell
She passed?
Man, I don't know.
Okay.
Cause she was old when he was old. You know, I mean, she was old when they was doing the war on drugs. What was that? The 80s?
Yeah. I know he gone. I don't
He
know.
gotta be.
Yeah, he gone.
He had the old. Every picture I see of him, he's old.
Yeah.
What movies did you watch as a child? Like, went to the theater for? Not child, teenager, I guess. I feel like that's when like horror shit was coming out.
As a teenager? Man, I don't remember. There's all kind of stuff out, man. Beetlejuice, all kind of stuff, man.
You had a movie where you just like, man, it was great.
Star Wars was like,
You was alive when Star? Well, not alive, but you was like you went to see Star Wars.
yeah. Star Wars, all that. Up until I got grown, I wasn't really into it then. Once I got
It
grown.
fell off though.
Yeah. Star Wars, all the Rockies. Adrian! In the middle there. Keep that in place.
So how does one gift wrap as a one person? Because you know we're doing this as a team.
I could have did it. I'm trying to.
Hey,
Yeah.
relax.
Yeah, get you involved.
I'm
So,
just-
so you it's gonna take some skill. No, practice though. Practice.
But I'm saying like, how would you be? What would you? How would you? All right, I'm gonna see you do it. You roll a blunt.
No,
It's such a therapeutic process.
not a blunt. I roll some joints.
See, I don't like rolling.
I ain't never rolled a blunt.
I don't think I have the patience for a joint. It's too loose. Like it didn't have a shape before me, you know. No, seriously. It's like dating somebody never dated nobody.
Mm-hmm.
All of the information you have about life is coming from me. That's a joint. What, that's wrong. Fake? Talking about like analogy.
Yeah, talking about your analogy.
It's the truth, man.
Okay, fam.
You get you a backwood or a switcher or something. They was somebody else playing mention.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
true.
We doing that? We doing all this? We're not cutting?
Nah, we can do this. Just fold it up. Who is this for?
Some nigga.
Oh,
Yeah.
I ain't no kid. I mean,
Yeah,
it's a kid.
It's a grown ass man. I don't do that. Honestly, no one cares about gift wrapping
True.
except the homeowner. And I don't really care.
So you don't.
Nah, I would have gave these niggas bags. But this is my first year as a homeowner, so I gotta do something.
Put some tape up there.
Oh, this is for Valent. Did you fart? Oh, you heard it though, right?
Yeah, that's my hand.
I get it. I just knew if I needed to clear the area. Yeah, sure. You got Chernobyl farts.
What's Chernobyl farts? What the hell?
So
Made up
what
of
happened in
the world?
Chernobyl? Was it nuclear? Yeah. So nuclear, it's like an area where like people can't go to,
Oh,
like to this day.
Kim has a good concert. He's pricey, but he has a good concert.
I don't know no Kim song. I'm gonna share my
Love
life.
calls.
Love calls, share my life.
Share
How did you find your way?
Yeah.
Back
Back
in
into my life.
And shit, what's the other one? Why would you stay?
That's a good one.
That's a crazy one. That's one of them rainy mood songs. I have some tape right here, man.
Listen, y'all.
That's sweet, fool. That's sweet. That's fresh. That's fresh.
Now what about
That's fresh.
What's your favorite part about being Myron's dad?
My favorite part. I don't know. That's good. That's a good question.
I try my best.
Huh?
I said I try my best.
My favorite part is, man, just watching him. Right now, my favorite part is when I leave and go over the road and come home, it seems like he done grow. Like I might be gone a day, maybe 2 at the most. And it seems like he done grown so much in them couple of days. And it's amazing. And I can just sit there and it seems like he's 2 and he sit there and hold a conversation with you like he's 22.
Yeah, he's way beyond his age. For sure.
So that's a plus. That's one of the main pluses. And then to see you and him interact, I love that. I love to see you and him interact. I love to see him and his brothers, all his brothers interact, because especially like right now, he's crazy about you and he's crazy about Jay right now.
Mm-hmm.
So like when you're around, he all on you. When Jay come around, like Jay wasn't there all last week. When we left, he left.
Mm-hmm.
But he just came home yesterday. And he been all up under Jay. He even fell asleep in Jay's room last night.
That's hilarious.
So I love to see how, he interacts with y'all and y'all interact with him. He won't be alone.
Yeah.
Like I grew up alone.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't grow up alone, but you were alone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
People always ask that I want, more kids. I was like, no, I really didn't. Michi was good. I was straight with the one, you, which is you. I was like, Michi got brothers. But I didn't want my child to grow up by themselves like I did as the only child.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So that was lonely.
You always instill that into me too. It's like, that's what you do for the people you care about.
That's it. You don't know. Ride or die for your family.
What is your favorite part about being my dad?
Like a moment right now where we're having a nice, sensible conversation. And, that's a good part. But my favorite part about being your dad is looking at you and seeing a mini me, but taller. I said, that's me right there.
You think I look like you?
I do.
That's hilarious. I do look like you.
Yeah. And then, when people come talking about you, hey man, meet this, meet that. Yeah, that's my son. Yeah, he doing it.
I think that's my favorite part is feeling the feeling of you being proud of me.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you send me that picture of you in the apron, I'm like, yeah. I know you mad at the apron. Yeah, I'm just happy we're at a place now that we can talk like this.
Yeah, me too. I love it. Especially when you call me and say, hey, you at home? I say, yeah. I need to talk to you. I need some advice. I'm here. Man, my smile, I be having the Kool-Aid smile. Man, my smile be from ear to ear.
Yeah, you be out there in that man cave with the grill going.
Yeah.
I think those are the things though too that got me back to a place was I think what really got me, and when we started making a turn, we had moments of riffs after this moment, and even though it was such a good moment, but where I was like, all right, was when you asked me to be your best man.
I was scared shitless too.
Why are you scared of me?
Because I didn't think you wanted to. I actually asked Reg, I said, hey man, if Michi don't say yeah, can you be my best man? He said he gonna say yeah. He said, but if he don't, yeah, I got you. I said, I don't know what Michi, man. You know how our relationship is, up and down. He said, nah, he ain't go. He said, he ain't gonna do that to you for your wedding. I said, okay, I'll try.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I was scared shitless. I'm like, man.
Yeah, that was like a turning point for me. It was like, oh yeah, he really like loved me.
And I was just thinking about asking you. That conversation I had with Red really made me go through with it. 'Cause I was thinking about it. I talked to Isha about it. She said that would be a good idea.
What you thinking about it just made you get emotional?
Just thinking about that time. Because we wasn't really in a good spot. I mean, we was okay, but we wasn't nowhere near like where we are now.
Mm-hmm.
Like if we was at where we are now, I wouldn't have had no doubts about asking.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, I felt like you hated me. I mean, for real hated me. Beyond all the other shit. I felt like at that point, you straight up hated me. And everybody used to say, all right, give him some time, he'll come around. Ramsey was one. His story is kind of similar, you know what I mean? I said, what happened with you and Greg Jr.? You know, how did he said, it took a while. Give him some time, he'll come around.
Did you have hope that it would? Like, did you run out of hope at a point?
Yeah. I know I always had hope that it would come around, that you would come around and our relationship would get better. I never let that go. Even when we fell out, after we fell out, and you hung up on me, and you blocked me around that time. Mm. And I was like, okay, I'll give him some space. And I think, was it my mama going in the hospital? I think my mom went in the hospital. And I don't know if I called you or I called Deontay. Y'all showed up. I was like, damn, I didn't even know he was here. But that moment, I think that kind of, bridged the gap. Mom's getting sick and you coming down like you did.
Yeah, the wedding was crazy. Cause like, I ain't never been to a wedding, so like, you there and it's like, I'm here, and then it's like, oh, this is lovely. I'm engulfed. Like everybody just happy, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And then like I gave like my like best man speech, but I don't know how to do that. And then I was like, oh,
now I got to do another one. You did two of them.
Yeah, I did two because I'm like, oh, I'm really feeling it.
Yeah.
Like I'm really like the first thing I was just saying it because I figured what I should say.
Should say.
Not that it made it mean
came
any
from
less.
The heart the second time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was like, oh wow, I've never seen my dad like smiling like this so consistently. Like, okay, this is like.
He said he's so calm.
Yeah, I'm really happy for where we are now.
Me too.
I think too, like when you like used to like pull up when I was like bowling with my friends, just like dolo. And then my friends would leave and we just keep bowling. It was like things too, cause like for a long time I stopped bowling, and then I started back bowling, and it was like all I want to do is show you how better I'm getting. Mm-hmm. But we wasn't talking, you know what I'm saying? And then you got me that bowling ball in the shoes. I think you either got it for Christmas or for my birthday.
Christmas or your birthday.
And I was
one of the two.
Yeah. And then when I cracked it, I was like, oh my God. Mm-hmm. Like it means so much to me, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm probably gonna frame that ball. Mm-hmm. I got my first 200 with that ball, but I'm still probably gonna frame that ball just off of like it being a gift from you. But I think it was just like for so long, our relationship was just a matter of like we just keep missing each other, like miscommunications, and instead of us being on the same like track, we just kept passing each other. We want the same thing, we want to get to the same destination, but we just keep passing each other. Like we weren't the people we needed to be for us to be okay.
And I had to take a step back and get out the way, and so to speak, like, because I felt like sometimes we'll be talking and I'll be like, well, shit, I'm the daddy. You supposed to be listening and doing what I say.
Yeah.
So now that I realize, man, you grown man doing this. I mean, you grown man. You can say you grown because you 18 or whatever, but you really grown.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you taking care of yourself. You taking care of others. That's grown man shit. So that's when I really started bowing down. Like, I gotta sit back and let this grown man speak his piece. And you know, because for a minute I was like, man, I ain't trying to hear shit you saying. I'm the daddy. You listen to me, and what I say is right. You know what I mean? And so when I learned that, I said, man, maybe I need to just shut up sometime and just let him talk and get shit off his chest. I think that helped us too.
Yeah, most definitely. I think that's like the other side of like where I was saying I had to separate you being my parent and like I can't talk to you about this or I gotta hear, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I think that's the other side of it is like this is not just my kid, this is a grown man now.
Right. Exactly.
And then that point, it's not like I'm looking up to you or you looking down at me. We looking at each other eye to eye. But yeah, it definitely took like so much work. And it's crazy. It's crazy because now I was talking to people. They're like, you know, like what kind. When I was talking to them about doing this interview, they're like, what? You know, it took a lot of work and a lot of conversation, a lot of like him listening to you, and a lot of you being like allowing him to listen to you. And I'm like, oh, we became better without ever talking about this stuff. Like we didn't like we stopped being cool, and then after that we never talked about it again. Like, I didn't like. A crazy thing for me was I feel like. What you thought I needed from you was way more than I ever needed. Like, I didn't need you to be perfect. I didn't need you to be, like, anything else. I really just wanted you to be yourself. Like, I didn't need you to change. I didn't need you to be my mom. I didn't need you to be anybody. I just really need you to be yourself, but I need you to show up. You know what I'm saying? Like, and not even for everything. You know what I'm saying? Or not even in the ways I wanted you to. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just need you there. You know what I'm saying? Like, your presence. But not just a blank physical being and we don't have a connection and we're not talking, we're not bonding. I needed us to find things that work for us, and then we formed those things. But it was like we had such a routine, like a thing we had going, and then it all fell away. And then, like after the dust settles, it's like we rebuild it. Like,
do you remember what Auntie Vaughn said last time we was on the trip? We came out the house. Everybody was sitting out by the pool, and me and you came out the house, walking towards them by the pool, and she said, "There they go. I need to take a picture of them. I ain't seen y'all two together like that since y'all was kids, since he was a baby. You used to didn't see one without seeing the other one." That's what Yvonne said. I said, yeah, you remember that, don't you? I said, yeah, I couldn't shake him back then. Yeah. Burt Road days. Mm-hmm. You was like joined to the hip with me. You know what I mean?
It's crazy. They used to like run away from the idea of like looking like you or being like you.
I know. You hated when people used to tell you that you look like me.
But like now it's like this whole collection, like you're a truck driver, but you're like so much more to me than that. You know what I'm saying? But like also like you're not the stereotypical truck driver. You know what I'm saying? And you're not like, and you like the work ethic that you present is like a thing that I try to carry. It's like everything I do. But it's just crazy to be like running away from being like your dad to wanting to like have an ounce of like things that he possessed. You know what I'm saying?
I had people tell me I'm one of the best dressed truck drivers they ever seen. I said, wow, that's funny. They said, you definitely smell better than most truck drivers. I said, yeah, I done been around some too, boy. Smell like an outhouse. I said, I'll try.
Man. Yeah, the whole point of everything I do now, it's like, especially this collection, it's like really like honoring you.
Really?
Like, cause I don't talk about you much on social media because our relationship was so up and down. But like this is who my dad is, and this is like what my family name means. Like if you just looked up Harmon and you seen something else, like I didn't have what I got going on, like this is the family business. Mm-hmm. Like I don't come from like my dad's not a musician, my dad's not any of these things, and that doesn't make him any less. That actually make him more important to me. You know what I'm saying? Because like, who would I be without all of these things? My kid might be a boxer, my kid might be a musician or something like that, but like at the end of the day, like the legacy of the Harmons is being carried from one person to another person to another person to another person.
Exactly.
And so like that's what I wanted to do, was like finding a way of like using what I have right now to immortalize you. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like there's like this fucking shirt is from probably like 2002. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's never like this video, the things we're making, like somebody might find it 40 years from now in a thrift store and not even know the story behind it. But it's
Right.
like at the end of the day, like our name is immortalized.
Mm-hmm.
Your personality is forever gonna be in this video. You know what I'm saying? So like I just always wanted to find a way to capture your essence and who you are right now and like what you mean to me. And like I felt like I had these ideas for a long time, but it always definitely is like being like, we not there yet. Like, you know, I don't know if he's comfortable being honest with me about things he felt that are good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if I'm comfortable being honest with him because he might lash out, he might walk off like, oh, you tripping. But it's like everything happened as it was supposed to be.
I didn't actually know how it was gonna go either. I'm off the set. Fuck this shit.
I think my favorite thing about
producers.
I was talking to Angela. I was like, my favorite thing about my dad is his sense of humor. I didn't see you as a person before. Like I didn't notice your characteristics.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't describe your personality. I'm like, my dad's fucking hilarious. Like bro, the funniest thing you ever said. Oh my God, the funniest shit you ever said. You was talking about your neighbor, and you was like, my friend was talking to me. He was like, you got this nice. The problem he don't fuck with you. You know, you got this nice car, wife. There's 2 cars in there. The kids ain't unkempt and shit like that. You out nigga in that nigga. I was like, what the
Daddy
fuck does that mean?
Daddy said that.
What does out nigga in that nigga mean? I get it. I understand the sentiment. But that sentence is just ridiculous. I've never heard that in my life.
That's my boat partner. Daddy said that. That's all you done did. That's all. That's all you done did. You done out niggered him. I said, wow.
Is there anything that you would do differently if you were given a chance again to raise me?
Mm-hmm.
What's that?
Keep you close. Keep you close. I probably wouldn't be as hard on you as I was, but I'll still be hard, but not as hard. Because I know you felt like I was super hard on you.
Pause.
And that was because...
yeah, I was going to give you a chance just now, but you got to say pause. That was crazy. Go ahead.
Yeah. Serious though, man.
I just had to.
I wouldn't be as hard on you as I was, but I wanted you to succeed. I wanted you to be something. You know what I mean? I mean, all parents want their kids to be better than them. You know what I mean? And shit, you did that.
You know what you said to me recently?
Hmm.
You told me if I stopped doing everything I do right now, you'd still be so proud.
I am.
That was that. That's why I started crying at dinner. Because that's all I needed to hear.
Fuck the fame and all of that. You still my son, regardless. Fuck this house. If you don't have this house and you had to move back in with one of your parents, I'm going to still love you. Even when we wasn't talking, I didn't stop loving you. Actually, I talked about you damn near every day. This little nigga. Guess what this little nigga done did?
Yeah, man, I love you too.
I love you.
I love you too. We gotta get the matching tattoos.
Mm-hmm. I'm doing DDH, like the English letters, cursive letters.
Yeah, like, yeah.
I ain't had one since. They talk about how addictive they are. I guess it depends on the person.
Yeah. Well, I used to cut myself, so this is a little bit more. This is a little bit more productive.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, kind of gets out like that energy, but also like, it's like pain. I used to draw myself a lot as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is different.
Rap. Oh, we should have hugged and then rapped.
You want to hug? Would you like to hug?
Yeah, let's hug and then rap.
Big boom microphone.
Oh, ain't nothing you can do about it.
Okay.
You wanted to.
Bye bye. You tell the camera bye bye. You tell the camera bye bye. Bye bye.
Happy birthday, hey, Baba.